unfold.
All right, let's get into a theory that started out in some of the weirdest corners of the web, but is now starting to look alarmingly real. It's called the dead internet theory, and it asks a very simple but also a very unsettling question. You know that feeling, right? You're scrolling through just endless, repetitive comments, seeing these bizarre images that make zero sense, and getting into arguments that just feel, well, scripted. It's this creeping sense of digital loneliness that gets you wondering, is anyone else out there actually human? So today, we're going to investigate that exact feeling. Because what if the internet we all grew up with, that chaotic, vibrant human place, has been replaced by something else? What if we're now just walking through a digital ghost town, populated by nothing but echoes and machines? So here's the core idea. The dead internet theory, or DIT for short, suggests that we've already passed a major tipping point. Some people are calling it inversion, a moment where synthetic, machine-generated activity finally started to outnumber actual human activity. We're talking about an internet of bots talking to other bots, and AI creating content for other AI to consume.
Now, you should know there are kind of two main flavors of this theory. The strong version is a full-on conspiracy. It claims some secret group, maybe a government, killed the internet on purpose. But we're going to focus on what's called the weak or realist version. This version argues the internet wasn't murdered by some villain, but that it was killed by a mechanism, the relentless logic of algorithms and the attention economy, which just happens to favor automation over authentic human connection.
And look, this shift didn't happen overnight. It happened in stages. First, way back in the early 2010s, algorithms started rewarding raw engagement over any real connection. Then, around 2016, political bots just flooded the scene. But the really big one was the generative shock of 2022, when AI made creating fake content basically free. And that all leads us to right now, what some are calling the zombie web, where all the fake stuff isn't even hidden anymore. But here's the thing. This isn't just a vibe or a fringe theory anymore. The hard data is coming in, and frankly, it's genuinely shocking. Okay, get ready for this. According to a 2024 report from the cybersecurity firm Imperva, nearly half, 49.6%, of all internet traffic last year was not human. That's the highest level ever recorded. We are, statistically, becoming the minority on our own network. And if we break that down, we see us humans just barely clinging to a majority at 50.4%. Good bots, like the ones Google uses to crawl websites, make up about 18%. But look at that massive slice, bad bots. Almost a third of all traffic on the internet is malicious scrapers, spam bots, and engagement farmers. This right here is the source of that hollow, fake feeling we all get. And here's the really scary part. Here's how they stay hidden. In the old days, you could just block traffic coming from big data centers. But now, bots are routed through what are called residential proxies. These are infected home computers, smartphones, maybe even your smart fridge. So to a website, that bot's activity looks like it's coming from a real person sitting in their living room. The fake users are literally wearing the digital skin of real people. So, okay, we've got all this fake traffic. But what are all these bots doing? Well, they're creating and interacting with a brand new kind of content. This bizarre, low-quality filler that's become known as AI slop. And if you've spent any time on Facebook recently, you've definitely seen this stuff. I'm talking about those grotesque, surreal AI images. Things like Jesus Christ made entirely of shrimp, or wooden flight attendants, or buildings made of spaghetti. This isn't just random weirdness, people. It's a calculated formula.
Here's how the formula works. First, you have the surreal image. It's designed to catch your eye and also bypass any duplicate content filters. Then you get a manipulative caption, something designed to bait an emotional response, like, "My son made this, type amen." And finally, you get thousands of comments, a mix of bots and honestly some very unaware real users all shouting amen into the digital void. This creates a feedback loop where the algorithm sees all this engagement and pushes the zombie content to millions more feeds.
Now, the video version of this is something called Sludge content. You've seen these all over TikTok and Reels. It's a movie clip on the top half of the screen and something like Subway Surfers gameplay on the bottom half. This isn't art. It's an attention hack. It's specifically designed to overstimulate your brains so you physically can't look away. And it's training our brains for constant, fragmented stimulation.
So the internet is filling up with fake traffic and fake content. It's a mess, but the problem actually gets way, way deeper. The very AI systems creating all this slop are starting to poison themselves.
This phenomenon is called model collapse, or more memorably, Habsburg AI, which is just a perfect analogy for digital inbreeding. See, when AI models train on the vast trove of human knowledge on the internet, they learn pretty well. But when they start training on content that was made by other AIs, they begin to degrade fast.
And researchers have identified a pretty clear path to this collapse. It starts subtly. The AI loses nuance. The weird slang, the rare facts, all the creative edges of human expression. Then its output becomes really homogenized and generic. After that, it starts obsessively repeating the same common phrases, becoming a copy of a copy of a copy, and just getting dumber with each generation. And in the final stage, it loses its grip on reality entirely, producing nothing but meaningless, incoherent slop.
And this creates this absolutely devastating paradox. Think about AI coding assistants. They learned how to code by studying human expertise on sites like Stack Overflow. But now, developers are just using the AI instead of posting their new solutions there. So the well of new, human-verified knowledge is drying up. The AI is literally sawing off the very branch it's sitting on.
So, if the public internet is this dying, bot-infested landscape, what do actual humans do? Where do we go to have real conversations anymore?
Well, this leads us to something called the dark forest theory of the internet. The idea is basically this. The public web, the town square, is now filled with predators. You've got trolls, data scrapers, advertisers, bots. So, just like an animal in a dangerous forest, the smartest thing for a human to do is stay quiet and hidden.
And we're seeing this migration happen in real time. People are abandoning the high-visibility, high-danger public squares like Twitter and Facebook, and they're retreating into what's called the cozy web, the dark forests of Discord servers, Telegram chats, and private group messages. So the living internet isn't actually dead. It's just gone underground.
But this brings up a huge question for our future. Europol predicts that 90% of online content could be synthetic by 2026. Just think about that. How do you prove you're real in a world like that? This new reality has created a huge demand for proof of personhood projects like WorldCoin, which literally scans your iris to give you a unique digital ID. But the trade-off here is enormous. To escape an internet of bots, we might have to accept an internet of total surveillance. And that leaves us with this final, really critical question. In our fight to distinguish ourselves from the machines, are we being forced into a system that requires us to give up our privacy, our anonymity, maybe the very things that once made the internet feel so human in the first place? What does it even mean to win this fight, if the price of winning is our own humanity?